Laozi, My Way. Chapter 5. The Way of the White Horse. My way led me to the Nyuyang Mountains. The middle summer months is here. A light summer rain doesn't really soften the heat. Does the moisture on my body consists mainly of raindrops or sweet beads? Who could ascertain that, and how? Let's leave the question open and continue to indulge in leisure. Some say to me that a nobleman cares in the middle summer months of fasting and cleansing. He stays in hidden chambers. He strives for peace and avoids excitement. He keeps his distance from music and beauty so that they don't approach him by chance. He is content with simple food, does not search for tasty things. He moderates his desires and strengthens the power of his heart. The various officials let their businesses rest and do not impose severe penalties, so that the success of the cloudy force can be achieved in peace. Some also say to me that the deer drop their antlers and the cicadas begin to chirp. The midsummer herb grows, the marshmallow blossoms. This month you should not light a fire in the south. One may live in high and bright buildings, one may enjoy the distant view, one may go to the mountains and the hills, one may stay on the terraces and high gardens. Some say to me all this about the middle summer months. 370 miles east of the Yuanyi Mountains are the Nyuyang Mountains, in the north of today's Lian district in Guangdong province. Copper is found on the southern slopes and silver on the northern slopes. Here lives the mountain zebra Lu Shu. It resembles a horse with the pattern of a tiger, a white head and a red tail. His neighing sounds like singing. Mountain zebras live in small groups that don't maintain any own districts. Such groups consist of an older stallion, up to 5 mares and their young. The stallion can appear very aggressively opposite the lead stallions of other groups. He leads his band for 5 to 15 years before he is driven out of his position by a younger competitor. The mares can stay in the formation for a lifetime, but if the herds get too big, they sometimes split up. An adolescent stallion then takes over the management of the split-off band. In medicine, the Lu Shu is used to cure sterility. This is where the Guai River rises. It flows east into the Xianyi River, which in turn flows into the Pearl River. In its water lives a reptile which is called black bidhead turtle. It looks like a turtle, is black, has a head like a bird and a tail like a snake. Its sounds sound like blows to wood. Its relatively large head and long tail cannot be completely withdrawn into the shell like other turtles. For its protection, it has large horn scales in these places. Since it cannot retract its head, it does not behave passively towards enemies either, but attacks and tries to drive the opponent away by biting. It feeds on snails, crabs and fish, and can crack the hard shells of the prey animals with its strong jaws. Since it is not a good swimmer, it runs along the bottom of the water or climbs on trees and bushes. The clutch, consisting of 2 eggs, is laid in an earth trough. After laying the eggs, the female smoothes the earth over the nest. The young animals have to dig themselves out after hatching. Also, this animal has medical use. One treats deafness and the beriberi disease with it. I now sit on the riverbank watching the turtles in the hope that I will never have to rely on their supposed healing powers. Everything could have been so wonderfully peaceful if Mr. Gongsun hadn't set out to get me mad with his mock attacks. It's a great honor, old master. Not to me. Why don't I just get up and go? Gongsun, you old crow, why don't you spare me your wish-wash? What you so maliciously call wish-wash is the science of the correct use of language. Oh my goodness. I am already tired and bored before he starts his sermon. Somebody once asked me if it was true that a white horse is not a horse, and I answered him that it was true. And you are sure of that, of course. Of course I'm sure. The aforementioned person now wanted to know the reason for my safety lust just like you. Why, like me, I don't want to know anything. So I answered him that the horse denotes a figure. White denotes a color. The name of a color is not the name of a figure. That is why a white horse is not a horse. But hopefully he wasn't satisfied with that. No, he kept asking if, in his opinion, you have a horse. You can't say you don't have a horse. Can't you say you don't have a horse? Isn't that a horse? If you have a white horse, you have a horse. Is it also white? Why shouldn't it be a horse? Well, why shouldn't it be a horse? That is completely clear. If you need a horse, then it may be brown or a black horse. If you need a white horse, then it must neither be brown horse nor a black horse. If you treat a white horse like a horse, what you need is one. If what you need is one, then a white horse is not different from a horse. If what you need is not different, why might it be a brown or a black horse one day, another time not? Acceptable and unacceptable are clearly different. So, a brown and a black horse are one when you need a horse, but not when you need a white horse. It obviously follows from this that a white horse is not a horse. It's not that obvious. The opinion was also of the named somebody. He asked further if a colored horse is not a horse, but there are no colorless horses in the world. Are there any horses at all? I actually see horses quite often. Do I now also have to doubt their existence? Of course not. A horse necessarily has a color. So there are white horses. A horse without a color would only be a horse. So how would you get a white horse? So something white is not a horse. A white horse is horse and white. Horse and white horse. So a white horse is not a horse. Your logic isn't that impressive. Your opinion was probably that of the named somebody, and he claimed that a horse without a white horse is a horse. White without horse is white. If one combines horse and white and calls it white horse, then one combines with each other with against each other, and that is inadmissible. That is why the sentence, a white horse is not a horse, is also inadmissible. But you could not agree to that. I didn't either. Instead, I asked him if it was permissible to say, there is a white horse means there is a horse means as much as there is a white horse means there is a brown horse. He could not agree to that. He didn't either. He admitted that it is not permissible. If now to have a horse is different from to have a brown horse, then a brown horse is different from horse. If a brown horse is different from a horse, then a brown horse is not a horse. If a brown horse is not a horse, but you think a white horse is a horse, then it is like flying underwater or inside and outside coffins in different places. It is contradictory and confused. I am inclined to say the same of your reasoning. Was he now convinced? Not at all. He said that if you have a white horse, you can't say you don't have a horse. That means separation of white. If you don't separate it, you couldn't say that having a white horse means having a horse. But if you confuse a horse with having a horse, when you say white horse is having a white horse, then in the end a horse is not a horse. A horse is not a horse. Well, it would be more plausible to say that this horse is not that horse. That is trivial. Something white does not determine what is white, so you can forget it. With a white horse, white determines what is white. What determines white is not white. Horse neither includes nor excludes color. Therefore, both a brown and a black horse correspond. White horse includes or excludes color. A brown or black horse is excluded by color. Only a white horse corresponds to the default. Included is not excluded. Therefore, a white horse is not a horse. But now it is enough with a horse. You can think about how you would have argued with the loose shoe. That's white and black. What is a loose shoe? You speculate about horses and don't know what a loose shoe is? You are a pseudo-scientist. But you don't know that an egg has feathers. What kind of strange knowledge would that be? And you don't know that a chick has 3 legs. Surely not. And you also don't know that the capital of Chu contains the whole world. How could it? One can talk much better with my colleagues at the Academy of Tea than with you. Up with you, back to tea. We discuss whether you can keep a dog for a sheep, whether horses lay eggs, whether monkeys have tails, whether fire is hot, whether mountains come through the mouth, where the wheels touch the earth, where their eyes can see, and where the turtles are longer than snakes. These are 99 reasons never to travel to T. Whether the shadow of a flying bird moves, whether a dog is a rabbit, whether a brown horse and a black cow can make three, whether white dogs are black, and whether a foal has a mother. Then have a nice discussion, but please do that in key and don't tell me about it. You are a clueless ignoramus. That's right, and you're more than superfluous here. At least give me a few clever sentences for my return trip. Why should I do that? Because otherwise I'll stay here. That is truly a terrible threat. So? Very well. Heaven and earth are not kind. All things are to them like sacrificial dogs of straw. What does that mean? The wise are not kind. Humans are to them like sacrificial dogs of straw. What does that mean? The space between heaven and earth is like a bellows, empty and yet does not collapse. Moving more and more comes out of it. Many words are exhausted. It is better to preserve the inside. I do not understand you. You now have your sentences, so please keep your promise. Goodbye, old master. Hopefully this can be avoided. He leaves, and I imagine with horror the palaver at the academy in T. This is complete opposite of calm. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on the banks of the Kwai again, looking at the turtles and hoping never to have to rely on their supposed healing powers.